Canelo team's Eddy Reynoso, trainer of Ryan Garcia, speaks on the Ryan Garcia versus Golden Boy spat. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Sign up for ESPN Plus below using my link. It does help the channel tremendously when you guys click on that link if you're interested in ESPN Plus. Shout out to everyone who ordered UFC 251 from me and the channel directly. Let's get it. Eddy Reynoso, he did an interview with Notifight. Link in the description. He talked about Ryan Garcia, one of his star fighters outside of Canelo, and his recent situation with Golden Boy, not seeing eye to eye. And I want to talk about it. Explore and go over what Eddy Reynoso said. Share some of my thoughts. Eddy Reynoso says, "We've worked hard for a year and a half. I think Ryan Garcia has learned a lot. More than anything, he is a boy who learns fast, very disciplined. He has no vices and is a very obedient boy. I think he's going in the direction that he wants to go. He has all the qualities to be a sports superstar. He is very, very talented. I think that if he continues with the same discipline and the same hunger, he will go wherever he wants." Eddy Reynoso, trainer extraordinaire, also weighed in on the Golden Boy situation, saying, "I think it's a difficult situation. In a team, there is always a head. When the head cannot control the body, then we are in a very bad place. Golden Boy is the promoter and is the one in charge of managing the boxers' careers. So if they can't control the boxer, we are already in a bad situation. I think in this case, Ryan Garcia, and I don't justify what he's saying, nor am I praising him. I think he is a boy who is young, who lacks experience. But there are also kids who despair because things do not happen as quickly as they want them to. Things don't go the way they want. In a team, there must always be a captain, someone to handle the affairs. I think Golden Boy here lacked tact to handle the situation with Ryan. These are things that do not concern me because I'm Ryan's coach. He has an attorney representing him. It's just my point of view. These kind of problems where you have a boxer versus their promoter really aren't new to boxing. Muhammad Ali had them, Sugar Ray Robinson, Willie Pep, Olivares, Julio Cesar Chavez had them. Many have had those type of problems because they are sports stars. Maybe it was a battle of egos, maybe a battle of power, but I believe that in these times, these problems are no longer the same as they were before. Now the boxer can defend himself. The boxer can take care of his own interest, and that's what the promoters don't like. Now, I feel Reynoso, a lot of what he said was true, but I do think he kind of hedged his bet a little bit. It sounds like he wants to say more, but he kept it PC. Now, this could just be my interpretation. I'm telling you my thought process on the whole matter. It sounds like he was siding with his fighter. That's how he kind of started off. And then he kept it kind of optimistic in the middle, but then he concluded with kind of siding with his fighter and saying this is nothing new to sports. So all in all, it leads me to believe my interpretation, Boxing Ego, that he's siding with his fighter, but he's also trying to keep it cordial. I'm just going to tell you what it is. Golden Boy Ryan Garcia, I'm over it. The whole beef, the whole when is he fighting? No one knows who he's fighting. Listen, it's getting played out. Ryan Garcia, in the middle of Glovegate, the WBC, right, who immediately backed Tyson Fury on the Glovegate situation, did 1 or 2 days, from the moment Marcellus Wilder said his piece about his brother having a dent in his head and Glovegate coming out ultimately, the WBC conducted no investigation, came out and backed Tyson Fury. In the middle of this, the WBC announced that Ryan Garcia needed to fight Luke Campbell with a 48-hour deadline or a 48-hour window, and then they offered like another 2-day extension or something. Now we're in a whole separate week and we still don't know who Ryan Garcia is going to fight. So this is getting old. What happened to the 48-hour deadline? And in between that, the WBO randomly pulled Ryan Garcia in a different direction, saying he had to fight some sandwich worker to-goes or togos, something like that, after the WBC had made their ruling. So to me, that was distraction media trying to distract from Glovegate. Now, as far as this situation with Ryan Garcia, like I mentioned, it's just getting old. Golden Boy had this spat with Ryan Garcia publicly last year. Ryan Garcia lashed out. He said his piece. Oscar took jabs at him saying, hey, Ryan's not even my hottest prospect. Virgil Ortiz is. And then when they got into it again this year, you seen Golden Boy, they kind of carry on that same vein. Hey, if Ryan's not going to go up in July, we'll push it back, and then we'll have Virgil Ortiz Jr. fight in July. But the difference being is Ryan Garcia has been able to penetrate the social media age and social media platforms to jog interest. I have never once seen Virgil Ortiz Jr., who is a very good fighter. I enjoy watching him. I've never once seen him on SportsCenter's Instagram page. So right there off the bat, Golden Boy is kind of losing that part of the battle, because no matter what you say, you can't deny that Ryan Garcia kind of gets it and connects with the YouTube millennial generation. You know, he's cool with the Jake Pauls and the Logan Pauls, and he's in that era of boxing. So I agree with Eddy Reynoso's assessment in terms of Golden Boy lacked tact in this situation. And the last thing that Eddy Reynoso said is, we're in a different time, so boxers can take care of their own interests, and that's what promoters don't like. Funny that myself, I've said the same thing. New media, we're in a different space. Like, even if you look at, let's say, I like music, I like hip hop. So let's say the record industry. Now it's not necessarily about the most thorough person or the most lyrically inclined person. The hottest person could be, you know, a snitch or somebody who makes party music. You have to, if you're a record label, you would have to take that into consideration. You know, you'd have to take into consideration saying, hey, this kids want to see this person, whether your musical tastes like it or not. To be a successful business, you're going to have to bend to the will of the demographic or the audience in which you hope to sell. So boxing is no different. I get it. People are saying Ryan Garcia, he's this and that, and I got to see more. But one thing you don't have to see more of is that he has amassed a following and he has more popularity than a lot of other people. And nobody said life was fair. And if life is not fair, you know, boxing is not always fair. Is it fair that Canelo gets to, you know, strong arm people at the negotiating table and make them fight catch weights and rehydration clauses and man-made same-day weigh-ins? No. But if he's Canelo and he can do it and fighters keep doing it, then, you know, it's just the way of the world. Or you got a guy like Broner. Is it fair, if we're just talking about moralities and courtesies and stuff, is it fair that there might be somebody with the craziest skill set that's not popular that never gets the opportunity to fight Manny Pacquiao, but because Broner has a mouthpiece, the ability to sell, and he has a name, and he's name known, name recognizable, and he'll get a Broner pay-per-view and make money from that? Is that fair? You got to look at fairness doesn't always align with what happens in boxing. The most fair thing to the fans would be make all the hottest fights right then and there when the fans are demanding them. But we know that's folklore. There is no fair in boxing. There's no like, hey, we demand this fight and it's guaranteed. We demanded Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder when they were both undefeated. Now, because of a pissing contest with the promoters and Joshua avoiding and Eddie Hearn ultimately avoiding that work, we didn't get it when they were undefeated. Now they've both lost, so it's never going to be that fight that it could have been because they waited too long. They didn't strike while the iron's hot. So in the case of Ryan Garcia, all we know is that despite having skills and, you know, a following, we don't know everything about Ryan. We don't know how he takes a punch from an elite puncher or an experienced guy, or if an experienced guy can drag him into deep waters. True, we don't know these things until he gets in there with that apt name. But we do know he's popular now, and Golden Boy, they're offering him $200,000, and his counterparts, Gervonta Davis, I would imagine Teofimo versus Lomachenko, he's going to get more than $200,000, especially if they put it on pay-per-view. Shakur Stevenson just fought on ESPN in his first fight at 130. and got more than that. They said 450,000 to 700,000. So you see, Ryan Garcia, like I've said from the beginning, he's right. He, based on his star power alone, despite if he's fought anybody, he's definitely worthy of bigger purses. There's other guys in boxing making more than what Ryan Garcia makes, and they don't have half of the celebrity that he has. So that form of compensation has to equate to something. And that's kind of all of sports. You know, you could be a quarterback who is very popular, selling the most jerseys, and you know, you could bump your way up into the queue and get the #1 quarterback spot based on what your meaningfulness and the way you're resonating with the franchise and the way you've been playing, you know. So you can't, oh hey, but I've been on the team, you know, I'm third string quarterback. Why, when the main quarterback got, you know, knocked out, why'd you use him? You know, it's just those types of things, they aren't necessarily fair. But in sports, you got to do what's working and what makes financial sense. For me, Ryan Garcia not being a priority while Oscar De La Hoya is golfing, and not keeping Ryan happy, and Canelo having these public spats with Golden Boy, it's just a bad look. And it's a terrible look for old media because it just keeps happening. You know, Ryan has expressed concern or whatever the case is, and now his trainer's speaking on it. Meanwhile, fights like Charlo and Derevyanchenko are reportedly being finalized. Tank's next fight, Sean Porter's next fight, Jermell Charlo's next fight. These are your competitors on PBC. Big fights, you know, Errol Spence's next fight is supposed to be announced. These types of things. So while these fights are just getting done, the legwork, they talking about Canelo options include Jason Quigley and Toriano Johnson. We don't know, even despite a 48-hour alleged deadline from the WBC, we still don't know who Ryan Garcia is fighting. So no matter what you feel, if you think Ryan Garcia is acting like a diva or Princess Ryan, all this weird, stupid stuff that you guys say in the comment section, if you think he's being a diva here, or you agree with the stuff I've said, nonetheless, it's not good for Ryan Garcia's brand or Golden Boy to have this public spat so visible and for so long in boxing. So Golden Boy, they got to stop being petty. In my view, they don't have to. Like, I'm not telling them what to do. They could do whatever they want. Just like they didn't respond to the N-word emails that came out between the ring representative and Golden Boy PR person, you know, so they don't have to do anything. But in my opinion, they have to find that middle ground with Ryan Garcia. Stop threatening Ryan Garcia with Virgil Ortiz Jr. Because at the end of the day, I don't know if you notice a pattern, but every time Golden Boy tries to do something like, oh, you know, we'll freeze Ryan Garcia out or put him on ice, or we'll just go with Virgil Ortiz, Ryan Garcia does one of them little body shot challenges or whatever the fuck, and he goes viral from it, and it's on Sports Center. So you're not going to be able to win that battle, because Ryan Garcia, like Eddy Reynoso is saying, which is what ironically I've said, new media, you can't win that battle because Ryan has his own lane. He can keep, you know, publicly outing Golden Boy until they do what's right. He just said the other day, release me. You know, it's just ugly. It's ugly. You never want to see in business people who are supposed to be making money together having this visible of a public spat. Yeah, sometimes people don't see eye to eye, but it's getting ugly. And this doesn't strengthen the relationship, I would imagine, when Oscar's taking shots with Virgil Ortiz and comparing him to Ryan, and Ryan's like, oh yeah, for real? And he's trying to go viral on his own and do things on his own. Now you got his trainer talking about it. And then Ryan Garcia is doing interviews with the Athletics talking about release me. If you don't believe in me, oh well, I'll move on to greener pastures. I'll do my own thing. So it's not looking good. Let me know what you guys think. Also sign up for ESPN Plus YouTube channel membership, hit the join button, or sign up for the Patreon. More stuff to come. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. What do you make of Eddy Reynoso, his comments on this whole fiasco between Ryan and Oscar? Let me know all that in the comment section. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego. signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.